The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. After leaving the mountain, Jesus and his disciples made their way through Galilee. And he did not want anyone to know, because he was instructing his disciples. He was telling them, "The Son of Man will be delivered into the hands of men. They will put him to death, and 3 days after he has been put to death, he will rise again." But they did not understand what he said and were afraid to ask him. They came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What were you arguing about on the road?" They said nothing, because they had been arguing which of them was the greatest. So he sat down, called the 12 to him, and said, "If anyone wants to be first, he must make himself last of all and servant of all." He then took a little child, set him in front of them, put his arms around him, and said to them, "Anyone who welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me. And anyone who welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise be to God. During this year B of the liturgical calendar, you must have noticed that we are reading every Sunday, practically, with a few exceptions of John the Evangelist. We are reading the Gospel of Mark, who was the first evangelist to write the Gospel. And Mark never met Jesus personally. How did he write this Gospel? He wrote it by interviewing people who had met Jesus, the disciples most of all, and others who lived in the time of Jesus, heard him, met him, and knew him. And also, another way of writing the Gospel, he witnessed the way that the first community of Christians lived. He observed how they loved each other, how they shared their goods together, how they took care of widows, people in the margin of society, how they took good care of them. And so Mark started writing the Gospel. Picking up these bits and pieces from the personal experiences of people who had met Jesus. The interesting thing is how he put different episodes in different geographical sites of where Jesus lived. He put them together as if they were one occasion, which they were not. A good example is today. We have Jesus in Galilee speaking about his last days on this life and how he has to carry the cross to the end and be crucified and be risen. And then, immediately with it and after it, there is the incident in Capernaum, which is far away, and Jesus asked his disciples, well, what were you talking about? And they were ashamed to say that they were talking about who was the greatest of them, who was the most privileged, who should be the next to Jesus, who should govern, who should order, who should be the greatest. They were ashamed to tell him that. How did these things go together? And why did Mark put them together? And then we have another incident. He mentioned children. Children in the time of Jesus did not have a status at all. They were not considered. They were not allowed to speak, not like today. Thank God. Thank God. But in his time, children were not considered to be any important to the family or to society, and so they were not allowed in society. Jesus went against this culture and he brought them in, and he said, unless you become like these children, you never enter the kingdom of God. And he gave them their dignity as they should be, as creatures of God. You see, these three incidents, probably happening in different geographical sites, Mark put them together through the divine inspiration. Why? To give a lesson to the community who reads them, and to give a lesson to us. And my first reception is this: if anyone today wanted to write the gospel of Jesus Christ, you remember, keep in mind that we have 2,000 years of experience of the values of the gospel. All right? But if anyone today wanted to write the gospel, only not by looking up previously to the gospels that we have, but by just looking at us Christians, how we behave, how we love each other, how we share our riches and goods, how we respect the marginals of society, how we respect refugees, how we respect people who are in the margin of society, single mothers and the rest. Maybe we judged all these people because they don't behave well, or they don't know of our culture, and we judge them and we accuse them, and that we don't want to know about them. Would he be able, if anyone wanted to write the gospel, Jesus who welcomed everybody, who healed the sick, who talked to prostitutes, and so many other things that he did on this world, would he be able to write the gospel today, as Mark did in his time without meeting Jesus? This is a question I ask myself, and we need to ask it to ourselves too. So why did Mark put these two incidents together? He put them because while Jesus wanted to show in all his life that if we want to be his disciples, we need to carry the cross. We need to go through the same path of the risen Christ. First, to go up the hill of Calvary, be crucified innocently, forgive those who crucified him, and rise from the dead. We need to go that path. And we need to do also what Jesus did. He washed the feet of his disciples while giving them the Eucharist as food for their life. And we need to do the same. We need to wash the feet of each other, especially those who are in the margin of society. This is what we need to do. And this is why when Mark spoke about the incident of the disciples talking to each other and thinking only of themselves, I am the greatest, I am better than you. We behave like that so often in our society, in our own personal life. We are only interested in our own life, in our own family, in our own country, in our own culture. And so we condemn anybody who trespasses our life, our country, or our culture. And we look badly on other people, on those who may take our jobs, on those who are better than us. We gossip. We are envy of people who are better than we are. And we are also ambitious to be better and to be greater and to have a status. And so we do not think of others. In other words, we make gods of ourselves, and we adore ourselves as the God, not the true God that we should adore. And this is very dangerous. This is very un-Christian-like, if we want to give it a name. We need to follow Jesus, and he gave us the example. Be like these little children. Be humble. Be innocent. Be pure in heart and spirit. And this will bring you to me. When we are humble, when we are ready to help others, when we have a smile on our faces, whatever the circumstances, we are carrying our crosses and we help others to carry theirs. This is the way that Christ is inviting us to take as he has taken it himself. I just want to mention a little bit of the second reading in the letter of James, which was so beautiful. The wisdom that comes down from above, the wisdom that comes from Jesus, is essentially pure. It makes peace. It is kind and considerate, full of compassion, and shows itself by doing good. This should be our only ambition in life, that we do good to others most of all, because by doing to others, we are also doing good to ourselves. Let's read the prayer together. My God, I come to you in humble acknowledgement that I have not always sought to serve others. I have also failed to accept the willing service offered to me. Instead, I seek to control situations and people. I look for that which serves me best, provides me with feelings of wealth and power, while denying others the same privilege. My pride is my downfall. For this I am sorry. I beg forgiveness of you, my caring God, and of my brothers and sisters, whom I have failed to serve, as well as denied their gift of serving me. Amen.